on the World Heritage List. It has meant a couple of things. This has initiated a host of activities. First of all, to our great surprise, we did not introduce any new regulations. To come onto the World Heritage List, your management and protection, your integrity has to be outstanding in the first place. So we did not introduce new regulations. But people in the region really embraced this. This was the first surprise that I had. People in the region embrace this World Heritage. They are proud of it. They buy into and take a responsibility for the management to an extent that was inconceivable during those 20 years. Something has happened during those 20 years. It was worthwhile investing in the discussions. It has elevated the management on a higher level. We have now a statement of universal value, and the statement of universal value, though it does not introduce new regulations, it is a measure for our management in the future, and this is what we will be measured against by the World Heritage Committee in the future. So it says something about what the standard of management that we have to live up to, not only today but in the future and for future generations. We have launched what we called at that point. We were unexperienced in how to go about with the World Heritage. We launched what we call a marketing and communication program for the 3 years. It has a management component in it. It's elevated management. It has introduced a new thinking about management for what are we going to do about alien species, what are we going to do about climate change. It has introduced new ways of communication. We have started a campaign, quite an extensive campaign across two countries. We are hoping to get the Danes on board soon, across 2 countries. Please consider, we are having 2 languages. We are collecting within 2 languages the same sort of stories. We are attempting to brand the Wattensee as a World Heritage List. And this branding must result in better management, more support for the management. It has introduced new ways of cooperation. The first thing that the tourism organization said, fine, this is a unique selling point. With the World Heritage, we had an instrument in which we could say to the tourism industry, yes, it's fine that you sell the World Heritage site here in your tourism industry, but you have to tell the whole story, not just part of that story which generates money for you, but also the part of story which which says something about the conservation and the management. And finally, it has increased our international commitment. The Wattensee is an important area for migratory birds from Russia, northeast Canada, and down to predominantly to West Africa, but even down to South Africa. 10 to 12 million birds pass through this area. So it has increased our commitment to flyway management. That was also part of the World Heritage Committee decision. It has enhanced our work within the international community. What has it added to? What is the added value of being a marine site? That will be my final words here. Marine sites have challenges that are not particular for terrestrial site. We're working in a bit of another international legal framework. So shipping, sea level rise, change, climate change, invasive species are elements that we are now working on, and has reinforced our efforts in this field. So 3 years of World Heritage against 20 years of tedious work has really paid off, and I'm sure that World Heritage will contribute to elevate our management and protection even to a much higher level. So I'm looking very much forward to what what the future brings. But you have to do it yourself. You have to reinforce your commitment to this World Heritage. It will not come by itself. Thank you.
And as you can see, a quality of a manager is you have to have passion. Thank you for that. That's what we share. It's like our therapy group that when we get together. So now it's your turn. So we're not gonna probably get to all of these, or at least not in depth, but I would really like just some initial kickoff of, well, what does World Heritage mean to you? I'm gonna do the Oprah Winfrey thing. Sure. What does it mean? Don't read it. What does World Heritage mean?
It means the best of the best for terrestrial and marine science.
Sorry.
My name is Yoshida from Japan Committee for IUCN, and today I hear about many threats to World Heritage Marine Area, but today I don't hear much about alien species. I have been working for inscribed in Ogasawara Island, and that was inscribed in list last year. And the next candidate is Ryukyu Island, which is also neighbor to the Pacific island groups. But unfortunately, both islands is a threat, the alien species threat to outstanding universal value. So maybe both alien species, both threat to both terrestrial and the marine part. So I'm sorry, I don't answer directly to this question, but I'd like to hear how do you today's presenter what about example to stack against alien species?
So why we're asking this question, just to back up, is we're trying to say how can all of you help us as managers and the Marine World Heritage Program understand what the perceptions are, so we can grow the program, and what is the value, so that we can emphasize that. So that's why we're going through this. So we're hearing it's the best of the best. We're hearing that how can we address threats, and in this case, the question brought by our friend from Japan is about invasive species, which maybe in the discussion you will get to. So does anybody else?
I think World Heritage to me means hope spots. They're the places where you know, the power, the incredible beauty of millions and millions of years of evolution of this planet are most brilliantly displayed. And you know, maybe we can meet the failure of the human imagination to remember that this may be the only place like this in a billion galaxies. And so, to me, they're the great inspirational hope spots on Earth, and to just simply remind us of what is at stake when we're talking about conservation, and we say, well, we've got to convince all these boring politicians of their economic value. That's one thing, but somehow or other we've also got to inspire the people of the Earth to remember they live on a little finite planet, and these best of the best are some way to do that.
I like to sit in the back of the room, so I'm going to not let folks get off scot-free. Any thoughts back here? I saw some nodding of heads. Anybody have something to contribute about your thoughts on Marine World Heritage?
I think when I was listening and seeing these pictures, that this is really a beauty of beauty. But I'm comparing it also in a case of tools like the Ramsar site, but with more step beyond, because when you speak about Ramsar site, it's help at least monitor these wetlands and coastal areas, everything. But it doesn't give this value that it has to be universal, it has just to be at the national level. And I'm seeing this World Heritage things as something really one step beyond, and which help really manage these beauty areas. So I'm trying to compare this because I'm coming from this side. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that Kenyan perspective. So let's think about it a bit differently. You say, what is World Heritage? The best of the best, the beautiful. How does it take it up a step? A way to abate threats. Does that change when you say marine World Heritage? For me, I think, wow, a pyramid, I get that. It's World Heritage. And you say the ocean. And we've had some difficult times expressing how the ocean contributes. Any thoughts?
Thanks, Alani. I'm kind of indirectly answering that question, and as well as answering your first question. I think I'm kind of skirting your question, but answering your previous question. I think that World Heritage and the ocean is really about hope and responsibility. And I think the quote that Sue and a number of you have used from Apeli Hau'ofa is the fact the ocean connects us. We've all been a part of the ocean. It's a seaway, but it's our responsibility to protect it and keep its health in all of its aspects. And I think one of the most exciting things is the way that in Hawaii and a number of other sites, they've linked it with the communities to make them proud, and that it's their responsibility. And then they've tried to telescope it up so that their leaders, like Anote Tong and others, so they really take it on board. And then we can add all the benefits of it, of sequestering carbon and everything. So it's a responsibility of ours, but it's also an incredible opportunity to build awareness in the world and within the countries that are partners in or are individually protecting these areas. So, I mean, I think that the examples we get that were given, particularly the Hawaii example, where they've really the whole thing, one of their major missions is our responsibility to protect it and to let our children learn about it and have a learning thing, because a lot of people don't even know about these things. And just the whole concept of these unique areas. I mean, it's a concept that can be part of education.
Well, I heard a number of things. I heard responsibility, I heard opportunity, I heard oceans connect us, and that even in remote places, it's about people. So I think that does answer that. So what else is different about Marine World Heritage? Help us so we know as a program how to connect better to the world about this. Help us frame this. What is different?
I think one thing that Marine World Heritage means to many of us is that it's very difficult for most people to get their head around conserving the ocean. It's a very big challenge. It's pretty nebulous. It's difficult to figure out how you fit in as an individual. There are 6,000 marine protected areas in the world today. Even 6,000 is a big number to get your head around and to say, how can we make these 6,000 places better for all of us? The real benefit of the Marine World Heritage Program is that it has 47 marine sites. That's a manageable number. 47 is a manageable number, and these are supposed to be the best of the best sites. So I think that if we can focus at least some attention, and a lot of attention, on these 46 places, we can design a future that is achievable. We can do something in these places, and in fact, if we can't do something in these places that are the best of the best, then what kind of hope can we have for the rest of the marine protected areas and the rest of the ocean?
I actually think that's a perfect segue, unless there's another burning desire to share, to the next question, which is, what do you think is the role of Marine World Heritage? That's what Bud is sharing, that it can help, I heard, amplify. It can help us tell stories that are not only about those places, but inspire protection. And Sue spoke about that. She had to leave, but she talked about these crowns in this wider jewel and how they fit in and are helping to change, at least in the Pacific arena right now, the way that nations look at their wider seascapes and the connected seascapes of neighboring state nations. So with that, does anybody have additional thoughts or reflections? Anybody disagree with Sue and think that's a bunch of rubbish? Anyone? Come on, I know it's, I know that you have thoughts. Randy.
Sorry to interject again, but your previous session, the final statement that everyone said is that big isn't only best. We must go big and small. And so maybe the big areas could be a guiding light. But as conservationists and people worried about sustainable development, is we've got to use the same tools, the same awareness measures to help protect the worst of the worst, which may be focusing on restoration and for communities, because many of these very big reserves don't really have resident populations. And I think that we can use this as a vehicle, all the concepts related to the marine environment, pelagic larval forms, and all of these things that make it sustainable. So I would like to see it, and this is where a lot of the NGOs are working on both fronts, is that this is an amazing example, but if we're really worried about the second pillar of the CBD, and that's sustainable use, is if we can use these same lessons, partnerships to help local communities, local fishermen's groups and things like that, then I think that the World Heritage can be a beacon, can be maybe let's look at it being as the jewels in the crown, but all of the rest of the part of the king or queen or whether we're trying to protect. Queen Earth, Mother Earth.
I would like to, it's really important when we think about this to recognize the great work that goes on with our partners at IUCN in particular.